Hello and welcome. In this episode, you will discover how to build an inner circle that grows your income, how to network correctly, and why growing your business with serving is better and easier than selling. My guest today is Steve Ramona. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great to have you. Let me do the proper introduction for Steve, and then we're going to dive into a very interesting conversation and a topic that is very dear and near to my heart. And hang out and stay through this conversation and through this episode and share this with your friends and other people that you think could benefit from this. So, Steve Ramona, the host of the Pantheon Alliance Mastermind, has a current membership of 45 million and billionaires, founder of number one ranked small business marketing podcast with thousands of followers. He is a super connected to connect people to build partnerships and joint ventures. And we're going to talk about what joint ventures are, if you don't know what that is. He discovered networking was the real deal at a very young age, and he is on a mission to teach the world how to network correctly. Love it. Using his number one ranked podcast, Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Welcome, Steve.
This is great. It's dear and dear to my heart, just like it is yours when we first met.
Absolutely. And just to be honest with you guys, the way we met was I reached out to Steve on LinkedIn and said, hey, should we chat? And as a networker as he is, we jumped on a quick call and we just hit it off, and here we are. And so, Steve, let's dive into it. Why don't we start with where you are and where you're located?
I'm in Northern California, the city of San Jose, Silicon Valley, they call it.
Love it. Good. And what's the weather like? Is it warm and hot already?
Nice day today. It's going to be about 75. It's going to be 70s through the week. I'm actually going to Arizona this weekend where it's 100. So my weather's going to change pretty quick.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Steve, what is your story?
Started back at 18, got out of high school. And, you know, when you get out of high school, you want to make some money, go to the beach, go on a date, go out with your friends, you needed money. And my family had launched a health club. So my cousin, who's the president, said, hey, why don't you come work the front desk? And I started working there, and I saw the power of networking as an 18-year-old, seeing 40, 50, 60-year-olds come in and building these relationships, because I'd see them 2 or 3 times a week as they'd come in and work out, and the resources and the tips, and they'd take me to lunch. Some I would see out. We'd have dinner together. And it was just this really cool bond building, and the tips they gave me were incredible. And one of those was Tony, who's a financial advisor. He threw a book at me, jokingly, but he said, hey, kid, read this book. And it was The Healthy Barber. A little Italian guy, great guy. He said, I'll come back next week. I'll get your, what you think about the book and what you got from it. So he comes back, and right away he goes, okay, Steve, what'd you think? I said, basically take 10% of my income and put it into an account. Don't touch it. That's it. So I started doing that, didn't think about it. Like he said, let it go. And 10 years later, I happened to think about Tony. I looked at the account, there was $68,000 in it with compound interest. And as my, money grew, it grew compound. As everybody knows in financial, it's huge. I was blown away. I was like, I won the lottery. Now keep in mind, everybody, it's 1989. $68,000 is much different than it is today. So I called Tony, and he had left the club, and I had still had contact with him and said, hey, Tony, I wanted to let you know what happened. I told him the story. He's like, kid, you listen to me. Still called me kid. And I said, let me give you $1,000. That's probably kind of your rate. You helped me out. He goes, no, stop right there. Because you read the book and listened to my advice, my universe changed. And when it changed, I'm sure a millionaire or some great client came in, or some resource happened because I served you and you served yourself, and you learned to serve and network. So I learned networking just much more in meeting people. It went much deeper than that. It went to the point where it could change your life. And in that case, that little conversation with somebody made me $68,000. So I learned that networking was the key to all this. And here's the power of a network. Your network's your net worth.
Yes.
Every opportunity I had, I brought my network with me. I launched a restaurant. I helped launch a restaurant. My friend owned it. Within 6 to 8 weeks, we had lines out the door because I just went to my network of thousands of people and said, hey, guys, come to my restaurant. I'm here cooking. We grew fast. And then the next opportunity was a recycling company. Took the restaurant network I built, building relationships, the health club network, and it brought to that, I was making more money hand over fist in the first couple of years I've ever seen. That's the power of a network. As opportunities come or things come about or you need something, It's better to talk to 1,000 people than to one person. And that's where I learned this networking thing is a pretty good and simple thing if you work at it.
Love it. Love it. So what do you do these days and who do you serve?
So what happened was this podcast thing that we're doing today, which I love your podcast, by the way. I've watched a couple of shows. It's really, really good. I did it to serve my clients. I'm a part owner of a digital business card company. And I'm like, what's a great way to serve them? I'm always thinking of ways to bring value to people. Well, why don't I do a podcast and interview them and talk about them and promote them through my network? And it started to grow. And then I started realizing people were referring these highly successful business people making millions and billions of dollars, athletes, celebrities. I'm like, wow, my network is changing from, somebody working 8 to 5 or somebody in network marketing, which is all good, to people. I mean, I had a billionaire call me, owns a network marketing company about 4 months ago and said, I want to work with you. I saw your podcast. I'm like, wow. And so we're still working with them, building and building. That never would happen without the podcast, because that gave me the ability to show me, but also show the ability of bringing value to other people.
Love it. I know for me, do you mind if I share my networking story? I always wanted to. I had a vision of creating a network of businesses to just support each other and refer back and forth. Then one day I was sitting at a Tim Hortons here in Calgary, and I heard a woman talking and pitching someone else about what they called BNI network. And then I'm like, guys, what is this thing you guys are talking about? And they're like, oh yeah, what do you do? I'm like, I run a digital agency. They're like, oh, perfect, you should join us. And then I joined them, and I was making multiple 6 figures out of my BNI network for a few years, and and then I got into affiliate marketing, and it's amazing. And it's been, for me, it has been my number one source of leads and income since 2010, pretty much.
Yeah. And a side note, I had the founder of BNI on my podcast, Dr. Ivan Meisner. Yeah, he was incredible, talking about what you were just saying, the power of that. And there's a lot of groups out there doing it now, and it's essential. We're in the people asset business, Mustafa. We don't meet people, we can't grow. We can't sustain our business. Always need to build that funnel, as you know, as a digital marketer.
100%. So why is serving before selling a better way to approach business and growth?
Love that question. Let me give you 2 scenarios. Mustafa, I want you on my podcast. Pay me $500 and I'll make sure that I get you out to 40,000 people. Or Mustafa, why don't you come on my podcast? Let me highlight you. Let's see how we can work together. And then I bring you value by giving you introductions after the podcast. One's pitching, one's selling, one's serving. Yeah. Am I making any money? Yeah. Think this, audience, transformational, not transactional. If you keep that in your mindset when you're meeting people, it's a game changer. And that's what I do. Will the money come? It absolutely will. We just don't know the how, the why, or the where. I just told you a story about a billionaire called me. It's because I've been serving so many people. The universe said, let me send you this guy. How it works, there's better people than me to explain that. But I know it works because last year was my best financial year ever. No, within the last 5 years. Combined, last year was bigger than that. So I've seen the value of this serving.
Love it, love it, love it. So you go, let me highlight you to my network of 20 or however many thousands of people, and we could talk about at the end who I can refer you to.
Correct.
Oh wow.
Yep. Simple as that.
Love
and
it.
if you don't have a referral and introduction, maybe it's a resource. I could tell you, I was on a call with a guy in South America, Jason. Shout out Jason Wilson, and we were on the call. In 5 minutes, I showed him on YouTube how to put his podcast on there. Well, you know what? That one-on-one meeting was energized. He couldn't believe I would do that. He would give the resource, and we're stayed connected ever since. Brought value, and here's how you bring value. You shut up and listen. Mm-hmm. I shut up when Jason's talking about what he does. Hey, I'm a podcast person. And that's one. And the thing before that is ask a question. Ask a question, shut up and listen. So I've just added that. I used to say, shut up and listen. I went, Jason, do you know about podcasting on your YouTube? No, I know no idea. 5 minutes I showed him. I shut up and learned more about him, gave him some introductions, and away we went. Were we transactional? Never. And we've never been. But I tell you, we're building our networks with each other by sharing these different people that we run into, because your network's ever changing. Who you meet today is going to be different than you meet 6 months ago, and you're going to change. That's
100%.
where follow-up's important. Yeah.
100%. And so you were you talking about like shutting up and listening? Was that during a podcast, or is just on when you were chatting with people?
All of it. Podcast taught me that. But anybody I meet, whether it's a group, and think about this, Mustafa, people go to these Zoom meetings. You know, they're all over now because of COVID, which is great. Nothing wrong with them. But it's like the Brady Bunch boxes. But how many times do you see a box go black or somebody turns away? Well, they've muted themselves and essentially shut up, but are really listening to the person talking?
Yeah. Love it. I know a lot of Zoom meetings where that happens, and they get, when you're just like the sole talker and people just get bored, they're like, let me go check my Instagram or do something else. And they just phase out because you're just not listening to them. Interesting. So why is podcasting your favorite way to network, and what do you like about it compared to other ways?
Imagine this, audience. If you've done one-on-one discovery calls, been introduced to somebody, you jump on and you guys get to know each other. Maybe there's a transaction, something happens, but imagine that whole meeting is put out to thousands of people to get to see what my guest is, their passions, their desires, their pain points, what they need, what they love, the obstacles they overcome. I say podcasting motivates, inspires, and educates people. When you hit all three of those, they're great podcasts. So now I'm in complete control of this one-on-one guest, and control in a great way, meaning I get to know them for 10 minutes. We do a 20, 25-minute podcast, and it's an hour meeting. So the last 30, 25 minutes, I go over the podcast. Man, I heard this. I saw this. Hey, let me introduce you to this person. I heard you say this. Hey, by the way, you have this pain point. Here's software you need to look at, or talk to this guy about his service. What happens when you bring value like that to people? Happens every single time for me. Steve, how can I support you? Now we're melding and putting together our networks. I just had a guy I met, and this is a great story, just happened. We didn't know why we met. We had met about 6 weeks ago, but we jumped on and we're like, what are we here for? Oh, let's start talking. Well, guess what? At the end of the show, he's going to introduce me to the Barefoot Winery founder, multimillionaire, big winery, a guy that has been studying leadership in over 10 countries, and one of the top sock companies in the world. Coming into a meeting, not knowing what we're going to do, and I gave him Dr. Ivan Meisner as an introduction and two other big guests that he wants. So it turned out to be, and how many times have you, audience, and you must not, you're on a meeting and you're like, what the heck are we here for? What's going on? That's where you start asking questions to learn about people. And I always say introverts are the best people in meetings because they don't want to say too much. So I give them 3 questions to ask every time. And introverts have come back to me and go, you're a genius, Steve. Oh my God, my meeting went so well because I asked how long they've been doing business, and it led to what they do and their pain points. And I didn't have to offer too much, but I learned so much about them. So the introverts out there, you have somewhat of an advantage of us extroverts. Just a little bit, but somewhat.
Love it. The idea of bringing them in, providing value, give them exposure to a network, go through who they are, maybe pain points in their business, and at the end be like, who can I introduce you to, and just provide value to a point where they say, how can I help you? It's a different approach compared to showing up, be like, I'm awesome, my product is awesome, buy my shit, basically.
It's a great, Mustafa, that's exactly perfect. I'm going to take that piece and save that because that's what really happens. And, you know, LinkedIn's been part of that. And how many times does it work? Those people are playing the numbers game. I talk to 100, I get 1 client. But you kind of pissed off 99 other clients. I'd rather meet 100 people, build a relationship, and not make any money right away, but I play the long game. What's going to
Yeah,
happen 2 months down the road?
100%. I think the conversion rates on that are much higher compared to cold calling and the buy my stuff now kind of style.
Yeah.
Much, much, much higher and better, because you went in, you provided value, you showed that you cared, and then they're like, you know what? There's a relationship there, right? Now it's not a cold relationship, it's very warm, and there is bigger chances of things happening.
Yeah. Here's another way to look at it, Mustafa. I meet you and I pitch you and say you buy my product or service. You give me $100. It's a subscription model, $99 for 2 months, and then you leave because we really don't have a relationship. But we go the other way, and I go, let me bring you value. Let's build a relationship, and you bring me 15 referrals. And 5 of those referrals become clients because you say you need to meet Steve. Oh my God, Steve's the greatest guy. He's really going to take care of you. And they're in your subscription model for a year. All of you listening that have a subscription model, you can run those numbers. It's going to be much higher building that relationship and having them on for a year than 2 or 3 months, and they walk off and go, it's not a good fit for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Steve, I know you already touched on it, but you got any more tips on networking correctly? And actually, why don't we start with this? What do people get wrong with networking? Let's start with that. What are some of the mistakes people usually make with networking?
Don't ask questions. They just talk. In a podcast, the rule when I mentor podcast hosts is 80-20 rule. Guest speaks 80% of the time, 20% is the host. It's the same thing when you're meeting somebody. You always want to bring value. And audience, every time you go in a meeting, think back to your last 5 meetings. Write down what kind of value you brought them. Test yourself. And it could be anything. It could be just like, hey, your background. And actually, Mustafa, I love your background. If that's your real house, it's beautiful. But
no,
it is, yeah. See,
but
no,
my
but
house is not too much different.
Yeah, there you go. See what I just did there?
Yes.
And you smiled, and you got happy. See those little things we lose sight of. People are like, I want to go for the big home run. Go for a little single if you're a baseball player. Hit singles. Do little singles. Next time you meet, more singles, and then that grand slam comes. I mean, audience, I get 3 to 10 referrals daily. I want you to think about if you get 3 referrals daily, 5 days a week, how much your business would change. You just answer that for yourself.
Massively. Massive. Wow. So the mistakes, not asking questions, talking too much, not listening. And I know, give us what are some tips on how to network correctly? So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, and the other thing is to ask, which I had to learn a year ago. The reason I had my best year last year is because for the last 11 years, as you said, I did $25 million in deals. I'll be very transparent. I made $10,000 on those deals. I lost about $2 million, probably more than that. Because I did ask. I'm like, Mustafa, Joe, you guys get together, enjoy yourself, and walk away. Now I ask, hey, let me put you guys together. Give me a little piece of the pie. Let's do a commission. And I just did that and made $25,000 on 2 emails. 2 emails, got 2 people together, and the eventual payout's going to be $25,000. Asking. And what's the worst thing that happens? They say no. I said, okay. I've had people say I don't have an affiliate program. I still referred them. But if you don't ask, you don't receive.
Huh. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of people are afraid to ask.
Yeah. All the time. I talk to people, I can't. Why not? Again, think about the worst thing that happens, audience, when you ask.
Huh.
I asked Ivan Meisner to be on my podcast. I didn't think he'd be on my podcast. I asked Lee Steinberg, who's one of the top sports agents in the world. He's Patrick Mahomes, the top NFL player in the NFL, makes 30, 40 million a year. He's his agent. I reached out to him and said, I'd love to have you on my podcast. He said, sure. His admin reached out, and 6 weeks later, he was on my podcast. I just asked.
Yeah, it was ask.
Yeah.
So how do you go about asking to make the introductions to get a piece of the pie? How do you go about that?
Let's role play. Hey, Mustafa, I love what you're doing. I've learned on the podcast, and you're so excited, passionate. I am as well. And there's people in my network that could really use your service. you have an affiliate or a referral program? They say yes or no. Yeah, and he does. I'd say, I'd love to be part of it. Do I need to sign a contract, a link, whatever I need, send it to me, and let's jump aboard. Here's the power of it. I love what you're doing. Don't just do everybody. And you don't have to really be part of it, but if you love what they do, what I also say is I'm going to highlight, I don't like the word promote as much because it's businessy, but I want to highlight your service in front of my large network. So every week, an hour a week, I'm going to reach out to my network and share what you do and introduce you to people. Again, I brought more value. I could just say I want to be an affiliate. You're happy, but I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to do with the affiliate program, which I think is missing. People don't, they just jump on and, here's a tip with this affiliate program. If you're an entrepreneur and you need money, go through your network and find out the products and services that you like. Mustafa's got a great product, by the way. Sign up with his affiliate program because I've gone through his stuff and it's great. And reach out to him and ask that question. Hey, do you have an affiliate program? I do. Well, great. I'd love to join because I want to highlight you through my network. What do you make? $50, $200, $500 a week? Say it's $200 a week. That's $800 a month sending emails or text out to people and introducing people. You can cover costs pretty quick when you're slow. For me, it's my business, and I make a lot of money doing it. I've got low end or low earning affiliates, and I've got high earning affiliates where I can make $25,000, $50,000, which those, of course, are a lot less. But it's such, and what a cool way to do business. I love what you do. The client's happy. They get you as a great company. I get paid, so I'm happy. It's the first of very few win-win-win scenarios that I've seen in business.
Love it. Love it. And I've done that before, as asking, do you have a referral program? Do you have an affiliate program? I have someone that could use your business, and you make an introduction. That's a beautiful, polite way of asking, and like, it's not saying, you're not like saying, oh, if you give me 5%, I'm going to introduce you to someone. It's like, do you have a referral program? And then, and I've had a lot of people saying, making one up on the spot, even if they don't have one. Have you had that experience before, Steve?
Well, yeah. And here's what I do now, Mustafa, is I found a guy that has affiliate software. He builds affiliate programs for people.
Yeah.
I'm in his partnership page. I sent him probably 50 referrals, and people have signed up. So now when people go, man, I'd love for you to affiliate, but I don't have a program. Here, let me introduce you to Chad. Chad takes care of them. They get the link to them. So I get paid through Chad. I get paid through them. They're happy because they got really inexpensive software they don't have to build. But now they can build this affiliate program to really grow their business. And think about this, audience. I give you, Mustafa, a referral for his service. What does Mustafa have to do marketing? Nothing. All he has to do is jump on a call, sell the person. And I mean that positively because they're interested in your service. Here's what I do. Here's my price. So he spends 30 minutes and he's got a client, and he might have a client for a long time. No marketing involved. I'm the marketer. So paying me 15, 20% is your marketing. I'd love to keep 80% every time I get a referral.
I love it. Do you know Jay Fissette by any chance?
I've heard the name, but I don't know him.
I'm going to introduce you to Jay Fissette. He's big into affiliate marketing, and he actually teaches affiliate and marketing and networking. And I think you guys would be a good contact for each other. I'll make that introduction after we're done here today.
That's great. As a service start, see, that's thinking value. That's real time. What happens is and I'm sorry not sorry, but I want to highlight this. What you just did is what I do every meeting I have. I'm a little pumped up right now because I can think of 5 different ways I can help him, and he can help me.
Yeah.
And eventually grow our income together.
That's literally how I've been doing business since 2010. Like
14 years.
You help them, they help you, and then it just, we all help each other. That's how business works.
Yep.
I know we talked about affiliate Are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh my God. This ad block thing just scared the life out of me. It just popped up. I thought you just disappeared. Anyway, I'm sorry. We talked about affiliate marketing. For those of those people that are not familiar with affiliate marketing or affiliate networking, what is it? Give us a little rundown on what that is, what it means.
So let's use CRMs. Everybody knows a CRM. That's a software where you keep track of all your connections, which you should have in this networking thing. I have a gentleman that has one, and when I talk to people and they ask me, "Hey, Steve, how do you keep track?" Well, I've got this CRM, Ruben Schwartz, and I go, "It's great. Here's a link. If you want, I'll do an introduction, but here's a link. You can check it out." And in that link is a cookie that if they click on the link and sign up, I get credit for the sale.
Right.
So it's super simple for me. I just give a link, click. I just had two happen as we're talking right now. I just saw 2 emails pop up. Somebody just bought somebody's service I gave them an affiliate link for. So there's not a lot of work on my end. It's just the work of here's the product or service. Check it out. If you want to meet the founder, boom, here you go.
Love it. So you got to have a CRM, which is, for those of you who are not familiar with it, is customer relationship software or management software. That when you have all of your contacts in there, you have a database, you have a list of your customers. If you do not have it, today is the day to get it started. Don't wait, don't delay. You really have to have a list so that you're able to market to the list, stay in touch with them, and provide value in the rest of it.
And I know money's tight, Mustafa, but here's another resource. Again, Friday CRM is free through Google, or just use a spreadsheet. If you're just starting out, you have a few, but when you get 1,000, I think 10,000 or 4,000 in my network, I've got to have some type of product, but you can start with a spreadsheet. Here's another thought with this affiliate program in learning this is you're bringing help to somebody. You need a CRM. Of course, this is free. I don't get paid, but if it's another service, remember, I'm serving you as well as I'm selling you because you have a pain point. You have nowhere to keep track of your connections. And maybe it's not Friday CRM. Maybe you want to buy one and you buy Rubens. Well, I get paid for that, but you get help and support to grow your network.
Absolutely. So let's go back to tips on how to network correctly. What are some of the things that people should do on a daily basis or a weekly basis? I guess daily basis, if you want to run a successful business as a business owner, as a marketing manager, as a salesperson. What are some of the things that has to be top of mind for me to run a successful business and get referrals and the rest of it?
A couple of things. You want to build your servant muscle. You have a gratitude muscle. What do? You do a gratitude journal. Well, you want to do a servant journal. I have one on Amazon. Just look up 2024 serving journal if you want to get it there. I think it's $9.99, or just use a notepad. But here's what you do. Monday, I usually like to start the beginning of the week. Keep track of every person that you served and what you did. Talked to Mustafa, gave him 2 referrals. You don't have to be specific. Helped a lady with her groceries. Was at church, and I told the pastor that he did a good sermon. Those are all servant heart. Those are serving activities. So you do that through the week as much as you can. If you forget a few, it doesn't matter. But by Friday or Saturday, what you want to do is summarize. How did you feel with every single transformation that you did? Not transaction, but transformation. 2, how did they feel? How did that lady feel when you helped her with the groceries? How did the pastor feel when you told them that was a great sermon? How did that person feel when you gave them an introduction? And the most important thought, how did your week change? And I'll put this up to anything. I don't do 100%, 99% guarantee that your week would be better. I've had down days. I've gone out and served. I actually went to a grocery store one time and bought somebody's groceries. Didn't realize it. We're walking out and she's crying. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. What happened is her husband lost a job the week before. They were scrounging to get the money to pay for the groceries. Now, I didn't know that. I believe it's God's will, but whatever you believe, there was a reason for that. But more powerful than me paying their groceries, what did she do when she went home and talked to her husband? What did she say? How did they respond? They probably responded with paying it forward. Maybe they gave $5 to a homeless person. Maybe they called their mother-in-law, whatever that is. It's just good always leads to good, leads to good. Most of the time, not all the time.
Love it. So what we talked about here, what you mentioned was improving your gratitude muscle, writing journals on what you've done for people and how it made you feel, how it made them feel. And then at the end of the week, Friday or Saturday, sit down and summarize what you've done and how did it change or impact your week. And that brings massive awareness on what you're doing and what's happening, what's not happening, and how it's impacting your life and business.
Yeah,
love it.
big time. And I'm not special, and people are going to think I'm special. I really appreciate those nice comments, but I am special because I take action. Because I've had to tell people, I want to serve, I want to be a better servant, but you've got to take the next step of doing it, not just saying I'm going to do this, and you jump off a call and you didn't serve that person. Practice that.
Love it. How do you deal with people that are like not open to receiving help when you reach out to provide value or to help, and they just give you a mean kind of attitude? How do you deal with that? Because I know that's part of it.
It doesn't happen very less than you think, but it happens, and it just happened a couple of weeks ago. I just take them out of my inner circle. I don't stay communicated with them. And that's really a servant's heart. And here's why. He's not getting any benefit at all because he's not taking action. So I'm not really helping him. He's not helping me. So when we remove each other from our lives, our inner circles, they go find somebody else that might be able to help them. I can go find somebody else that wants to listen and help. So it's very important to say no to people. No is a big word in servant. If they're taking from you, and I had that happen for many years. I learned about 2 years ago, I met this gentleman, made $250 million in 2022. And I said, how'd you do that? I was blown away. He said, I just served. Explain more. He goes, every day I woke up, who am I serving today? I served my competitors by giving them one of my clients. I couldn't help them, so I gave my competitor. And it's not really a competitor, it's a cooperation because I couldn't help them. So I'm not going to leave them in the wind. I'm going to give them an opportunity to grow somewhere else, my employees and whatever it may be. What the key he told me was, and that's where I talked about the ask. I never was asking. That's why I only made $10,000. I would go, hey, you're good. I'm all good. Enjoy the connection. Well, people are making money and money and money because of some of the activities I did of connecting. Now I ask, and that's why my income. And if somebody says no again, like I said, that's okay. There's more people out there.
Love it. So serving people, and the question was, who am I serving today? And it is amazing. May I add another question on top of that?
I love that. Yeah.
So I'm just reading the book, The Magic of Thinking Big. And I really wished I would have read it like a while ago. It's been on my list, and have you ever had that experience when a message pops up in many different directions and you're like, maybe I should pay attention to what's happening. Maybe yes. God or universe or whatever you call it is sending me a message. And I picked it up and I've been listening. And so one of the questions that I learned from it is like, you should ask almost every day is, how can I do this thing, whatever it is, better? Right? So if you combine it with who am I serving today and how can I make it better? Sounds like the magic formula to me. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So here's how I look at it. You can bring value here to a certain level. I'm always looking to do 1 or 2% better. I love that you say that because I end a lot of my podcasts and a lot of my workshops with just get better 1% every day. And let's run those numbers real quick. It's May 30th. We'll say it's June. We're halfway through the year. So that's 520. So that's about 120 days. Audience, think about this. If you got better 120% starting today by January 1st, 2025, how would your business look? How would your life look? Just think about that.
Yeah, that is massive. So, mind if I dig a bit deeper on that?
Please.
What would that actually look like to get 1% better every day? Because I know we say it. We say, let's get 1% better. But how do I actually in action get 1% better? What would that look like for you? Or do you have an experience with that?
This is one of the greatest hosts I've ever talked to. That is an incredible, deep question. Now, that's customized to each person. But if you need help, one way is look at your habits. If you're getting up at 8 o'clock every morning and you get up at 7:30 3 days a week. What's that extra hour going to do for you? A lot. Is it personal development? You just started reading this book that's changing your life. Read 15 pages a day. If you start with 0, don't go to a full book a day. Add 1%. That's what the 1% is. Maybe you do 10 pages today, 15 tomorrow, whatever that looks like. Maybe you serve more. Maybe you go out and serve more. Maybe you volunteer. Again, that serving universe changes.
Mm-hmm.
So think about what you can do. But books are a great thing. Calendar is a great thing. Get my calendar. You could serve yourself and get better 1% every day, but not doing 15 meetings a day like I used to do. I cut it back to 5 or 6. And it's amazing when you do that actually increased my revenue because I have more intentional meetings instead of meeting and then being tired. You're not going to be as a servant. You're not going to be as your top of yourself. There's many variables. But yeah, those are a number of ways you can reach out to me and ask, or ask Mustafa, this wonderful host, those things. But think about what you need to work on.
100%. May I share?
Yes, I'd love to hear.
One thing I've been doing since I learned this, how can I make this better question, is when you actually ask that question about anything that you're working on, the answer will come up. How can I make this better? The brain will come up with, let me improve my talking. Maybe let me improve my networking. Let me improve my marketing, my website, my friends. Whatever you ask that question about, your brain will come up with an idea. And I've been coming up with ideas to improve things. And it's like you said, when you do that every day for a year, things will happen.
Big things.
Big. Love it. Steve, you talked about your inner circle. How do you go about building an inner circle? First of all, what is an inner circle and how do you go about building it?
Inner circle is that person, you have their cell phone, you call them, they'll pick up the phone. Oh, it's Steve Ramona, I got to answer it. That's a great definition of that. If you know it's going to pick up the phone, it's going to be a couple days, or they're not going to respond back to you, probably not part of your inner circle. How you build it is listening, learning about people, and building a relationship, that inner circle. So I call business, and we'll jump on business, a business marriage. Let's talk about personal marriage. I just got married 2 years ago. Well, it took me 7 years to get married. I didn't marry her the first date. And we probably could have. We were together for 3 hours having a great time. But I didn't get married the next day. Business works the same way. Business love, I call it. It's got to be fruitful. It's got to be like a rose. It's got to open. Got to get to know it to see if they're even a fit for your inner circle. And then using the ask. Hey, for example, my partner, Josh Tapp, who's mega successful business person, sold many businesses, top podcast in the world. He was number 5 at one time. He helped me build my podcast. Last February or March, he reached out to me and said, hey, I want to talk to you. I'd love to partner up with you. I'm like, really? He said, yeah, you got this, and this. I said, let's do it. Let's set this up. Well, next week we started setting up. He goes, Steve, I was really surprised that you said yes. I'm like, Josh, you make a lot more money than me. He goes, Steve, you got a huge network. You have more than you think you have. And once he said that, I realized I have huge value. Whether I'm making $250,000 a year or $25 million a year, I can help anybody. And guys like Josh want to be in my inner circle. And by the way, I'm in his, he's told me this, and I'll say it publicly, I'm one of his 5 in his inner circle. What a powerful guy to be in my inner circle. And I trust the guy immensely. We've met in person, we've done. So it's a feel thing, but it's got to be somebody you can trust. I know I could pick up the phone with Josh or text him and he'll get back to me quickly.
Love it. Speaking of reaching out and hearing back from people, I'm working on, we're actually on final stages of my book, Simple Marketing Formula, coming out. And part of the process is getting reviews for the book. So I emailed my list of people that I know, and I said, hey, my book is coming up. Would you be open to write a review about it? And out of the list of all my affiliate partners and referral partners and friends and people that I know, and I've had a relationship, a few actually step forward. And going back to who you could rely on in terms of who's your inner circle. Now I'm like, that's interesting you said that, because now I know who is my inner circle, who I can rely on, and the rest of it. Love that. And Steve, to be honest with you, these are people that I've worked with, that I've supported before, that I've supported their offers and promotions, and we've just gone back and forth, and there is a relationship. And there were a few of them that I actually haven't spoken to for like a year or two. And because that relationship was there, even though we haven't talked for like a year or two, still it was there. And it's a beautiful to your the notion of building network and your affiliate partners and networking and the rest of it. That's where it's at, I think, for me, and that's looks like it is for you as well.
Yeah, no, great story, Mustafa. Thank you for sharing, because that's the power of this lady's not even my inner circle, but 6 weeks ago I got a referral on LinkedIn from somebody I hadn't talked to in 6 months. But I built enough value in a relationship with her. She trusts me. That doesn't always work that way. And here's a tip for everybody in the audience. This is a multi-million-dollar tip. Go to your calendar on Google. Those are all the people you've met, some you've built a relationship with. I had 4,400 people on my contact list, which is a lot more than most. I'm not surprised with what I do. But I took that list and I sent them an email. Quick question. I'll be sending you information through a newsletter of some things happening on my podcast, my TV show. If you're not interested, more than welcome to unsubscribe, but I look forward to bringing you great content. Well, I added 4,400 people to my newsletter. To this day, I still have 3,900 people. 500 people unsubscribe, which again is that no in a servant's heart. I don't want them in there anyways because they're not interested, and that's okay. We're going to still be friends. I just think I'm not interested, and that's part of life. But now I get to, bring messages and content to 3,900 people weekly, and I'm making sales through that. So that's a tip of building your network. Newsletter is such a great way to be top of mind. Email newsletter or anything else you're doing. Go through that network and reach out to them. Tell them what you're doing.
Absolutely. And that's like part of nurturing your list and staying in touch. I think one of the mistakes that I see people make, and I'm definitely guilty of that myself, is sometimes I kind of stopped nurturing my list and staying in touch. Do you have any tips for when I guess the situation was I was maybe not feeling good, or I was working on a different business and it was just, something was going on. Do you have any tips on how to manage relationships for when things like that happen?
My newsletter's in my calendar. Every Saturday, I know I need to build my newsletter, so it reminds me. If you miss 1 week, it's not a huge deal, but it's not a scoreboard. You're not going to know what's going to happen in those newsletters. But sometimes I got a phone call on Saturday. I just sent the newsletter out. This lady goes, "Oh my God, Steve, when did you start your podcast?" I didn't know anything about it. I'd been sending her emails. She just happened to read the newsletter this time. So she wants to sponsor my podcast. So we're working on possibly sponsoring my podcast. Now that's happening a lot more than we think. I've had people make sales because I promote some of my guests' businesses on my newsletter. And I've had people click on their link and sign up for their service through my newsletter. Here's the value add again. Stop talking about yourself. Talk about others. Nobody wants to read a post, a newsletter, email. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. I'm the rock star. If you don't work with me, you're an idiot. Mustafa's got a great digital marketing agency. You need to reach out to him. See if it's a fit. He will probably change your life if it's talk about others. I've been doing that for years. I send video birthday messages to people. And they're blown away. Think about that. And I do all my 90% of my introductions are through video. Now I could send a typed email. Hey, Mustafa, meet Joe, and da, da, da. That's great. But again, I'm always looking for that. As you said, being creative, I can do a little bit more. So I just send a quick 30-second video. Hey, Mustafa, meet this, da, 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 da. I don't know if you've received them, but the response I get back just this morning, I love the video. We need to talk more.
Oh, you send them a video about
the introduction.
You made a video introduction between the two of them, and then they got back to you and they said that was amazing.
There's amazing video. Let's talk more, because I'm top of mind because it's so unique and different. It's not the same old written email. Hey, meet Tony. Hey, meet Steve. Hey, meet so-and-so. It's just a video. I put no words except for intro in the subject. And it's a shout out to Dub Video. I use Dub Video, and it just pops right there and shows a preview of the video. And they click on it, and it plays the video. Video's powerful, and there's so many ways. Yeah,
I use Loom.
Loom's good too. If you don't want to pay, if you're short on money or money's tight, Loom's good. But what I love about Dub Video, it has call to actions down below and has my calendar below that.
Oh yeah, we have used Dub Video.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
To do the video, it makes it a lot more personal, and like you care so much more, and they see your face, and then they could attach a face and a personality to that message. Because all I've been doing is I make that the message be like, Steve meet Joe, Joe meet Steve, this is why you guys should meet, and happy connecting and the rest of it. But I'm gonna
here's a 30-second here. Let me do a 30-second one.
Let's do it.
Hey, Mustafa, meet Colleen. Oh, Colleen's a top business coach. She's a rock star. And Mustafa is a digital master. He works with SEO and does some great stuff in digital marketing that have really blown me away. Or do I type that out? My body language, how I'm saying it, really flares it. Exactly. And then what happens when the two meet? It's like, oh my God, Steve says you're a rock star. You're a rock star. There's more of a chance of listening to work with each other, or maybe by each other's whatever transpires with that meeting. It's all about energy.
Steve, honestly, that's $1 million tip right there. That little tip there to make a video introduction versus the text introduction. That is amazing.
And think about all your introductions. I got this from one of my guests who sent me a video, him driving back home from a workout. He was in the car and he's doing, hey, I want to pop a video and introduce you. I'm like, this is brilliant. He's the only other guy that I've received a video introduction. So you'd be different and you would stand out.
You have no idea how big of a fan of a video I am. I love everything video and face-to-face. That's why I do live video with my podcast. And if I could do a video in anything, video is my thing. So you just give me another great idea. I'm going to actually try that today, introducing you to Jay. Let's see how well I do with that. Probably have to practice a few times, but I'll try.
If the content's there, that's all that matters. I mean, you might go ums and ahs and go, oh yeah, Joe, this is, it's all about the content and the connection.
Love it. One question I have, and then if that's okay with you, we're going to switch to some personal questions. And that is, when you go through your podcast phase, inviting them, highlighting them to your network and the rest of it, how do you, at what point do you transition, or how do you get business from them? Like, how do you transition from, I know that you go through, do you introduce them, say, hey, by the way, here's what I do after you're done with the podcast, or do you wait for them to ask you? How do you go about that piece?
Finish the podcast. So 10 minutes to get to know, 20 minutes of the podcast, 25 minutes. And then it's like every single time, oh my God, today I had Catherine, scientist. What an incredible podcast about doing good. And I said, Kathy, you're so tied into Servant's Heart. And I just flooded her with edification. And hey, here's a referral. Well, she's like, yeah, Steve, I really like the conversation. This is really, really good. I can go, do you have an affiliate program? I love what you're doing. She didn't, but if an affiliate program, I'd like to promote what you are. Or, you know what? You might be a great fit for my mastermind. I'm a host of a mastermind. I'd love to introduce you to Josh and John, our team, and see if it's a fit. Would you be interested in me? Absolutely. Man, you're such a great host because you're up here with energy. You've been treated them with value. They're more than willing to listen. Do they sign up? Oh, no. But at least they're going to door it. Here's what I call it, the opportunity door. Those doors swing in and out. It's not a wall. You're not walking through a wall and stuck on that side. The door opens and closes, so you walk through the opportunity door. If it's not a fit, you walk right back out that door and start with another door of opportunity.
Yeah.
That's all it is. If it doesn't work out, introduction is just that. They're an intro. If they work out, great. If they don't, they don't. I've had people tell me, hey, no more introductions like this. And I love the honesty and transparency, and I don't do that anymore. And that's how you build relationships. You be honest and authentic.
I love it. And I think when you're doing that on a weekly or a few times a week, inviting people, providing value, highlighting them, yes, a few of them are going to say, no, I don't care. I'm just here to get highlighted and promoted. But a few of them you will build a relationship with. And those are the people that you do care and look for, and then it will turn to something and go from there. Over the years, Steve, I've seen and I noticed that even if, let's say you give to someone, you provide value to someone, What I've learned is to not wait and expect to get directly back from them. When you put out, you may get back from somewhere else that you don't know about. That's just like you just put the energy out there, and someone else from another direction you will just get it. Have you had a similar experience? Have you?
All the time. All the time. It's not a scoreboard. Any of you sports, well, a lot of people are sports. You know, there's a scoreboard with every sport. It gives us the result of that game. Giving is not a game. Giving is a skill. Again, don't know the how, why, or where. You just have to have faith and hope and the skill of giving and giving properly. The better you get at it, guess what? The better the people receive. And then you receive back. And I've had many opportunities. Told you about the billionaire calling me. I mean, I helped a young lad one night. He called me from his dad, who I met, and I was talking about his business. I wanted to help him. Well, I woke up the next morning, $250 is my PayPal from somewhere. One of my programs, somebody signed up I didn't know about, but $250 was there. So it doesn't happen like that all the time, but I know it was directly related. Me bringing this guy value who was crying on the phone, so excited to meet with me, so excited with the hope I gave him. I served him. I didn't expect to get paid. It just happened, and does happen with everybody else. We just can't track that. There's no KPI for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. All right. Could you give us a 30-second task or something really simple and quick where people could do today to improve sales and marketing?
First person you meet, I want you thinking top of the mind what value you can bring to them. Shut up and listen. Ask a question. And the whole question, what you're trying to get from the question, the answer from the question is how you can bring them value. What is your challenges in your business right now? I need a CRM. Well, I just listened to Steve on a podcast. Friday CRM is free. Why don't you try that? You didn't make any money on it, but you just helped them. You brought them value. It will change. So first person you meet, bring value to them any way you can.
Okay. Well, while we're here, Steve, who do you want me to introduce you to?
I am looking, high successful business owners that have gone over obstacles and have a servant's heart. Example would be Mark Jacobson. Incredible story. He's a financial advisor. He's responsible for 1,800 people being millionaires with his service. That's a lot of millionaires. Well, he got hit by a car, just a fender bender. Nothing happened. 4 days later, he was in emergency. All 4 of his vertebrae in his neck were hanging on. He had to do emergency surgery. They told him before surgery, 1, you may die, 50-50. 2, you'll be a paraplegic, 50-50. He survived, obviously, because I talked to him, but he couldn't walk. He's a paraplegic for a year. This guy, all the money in the world. He learned how to heal himself. The doctors say never walk again. He was running marathons a year later. But during that year of being a paraplegic, he learned the 4 words that destroy connection. But, help, and I forget the 4th one, but you can look up my podcast with Mark Jacobson. The the but you want to go to and, I is our or we, and help goes to support. Helping you means, Mustafa, you have a problem. Supporting you means I'm walking side by side with you. And but means, but you did this. And means, hey, you're doing this great, and I want to help you with that. It's more supportive.
Love it.
And then I or we, I is just all about me. We, Mustafa, we need to work together to build this podcast. We do
this
it as a
what
group.
I love it. Are you familiar with Chris Voss?
Oh yeah, he's fantastic.
That's what he calls that 2 millimeter shift, right? Going from but to and it's just like different perspective.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. Can I ask you some personal questions?
Absolutely.
Right. What's a new thing that you have tried recently, big or small?
Except don't ask me that. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. A new thing I tried.
As small as a cup of coffee, as big as going to the moon, or something in between.
I'm trying stock trading.
Oh,
I'm playing with the stocks.
Love it.
Doing well right now, but I know how that goes.
Well, I hope you keep doing well.
Me too.
Good. Give me two of your favorite books of all time. Some you recommend at all time, or some books that have made a massive difference in life or
These
business.
are father and mother books. Think and Grow Rich and Can You Think and Grow Rich was written, and unfortunately he was a guest on my show and he passed away 3 weeks ago, and it really hit me hard because I really connect with this guy. He's been homeless 3 times and he's been a billionaire 4 times, meaning homeless, made $1 billion, lost it, homeless. And he used the Think and Grow Rich book to become a billionaire. So he wrote a book that applies to your life, how to use Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich, the Napoleon Hill Foundation told him that book is better than Think and Grow Rich because it applies to your life.
Who is this guy again?
Rami Eltawapa. I can't say Rami's his first name.
Altalaba.
Etlabewe, I think.
Okay.
And here's the power of guys like this. He's just bought, before he died, a city called California City in LA. He's building a city for homeless and veterans, for 1 million of them to live, to grow and educate and heal. And when they're ready, they can move out to the world.
Wow. That is amazing.
Crazy.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
What's one advice that made a big impact in life or business?
Shut up and listen. If I learned that when I was in my 20s, I probably wouldn't be sitting here. So it's life, and God has put me in a great place to be here. But I would have been a multimillionaire. 100% guarantee of that.
Shut up and listen. Love it. Love it. Steve, if you had a personal message that we could put on the web and people around the globe could see that message, whoever had access to the internet, what would your message be?
We love in our personal life. Why not love in our business life? It's okay to love your business partner. It's okay to love your competitors. It's okay to love your employees, your customers. And there's different types of love, and there's Greek love. I don't remember all of them, but I think it's missing. I think business can be very intimate. Why not? If we're bringing value and serving people, love is powerful.
Love it. Amazing and powerful. Steve, this has been an absolutely amazing conversation. I know you had a gift to share with people. Could you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, it's Pantheon Premium. It's a lot that I've learned. We educate you in this community. It's a place to network. We also do in-person events where you can come out and network with people in person and be able to do different things in person as well virtually. I'm actually teaching tomorrow to the group podcasting how to be a better podcast host. And Josh comes and speaks about building joint ventures, partnerships, and really taking people to the next level. It takes a village. It doesn't take an individual, a village for us to grow.
Love it. So, gang, the link is in the comments on social media. It is in the description of the show. Go visit Pantheon is PANTHEON.FM. And that's where you get is that a 7-day free trial of your networking and
yes,
community?
Correct. Free trial.
Love it. Amazing. Steve, is there anything that you maybe wanted to talk about that we didn't go over?
Yeah, real quick, you had mentioned earlier about joint ventures. Joint ventures are the creme de la creme of partnerships. It's where 2 companies, 3 companies, 10 people, entrepreneurs, doesn't matter, come together, bring their networks together in a joint venture. It could be a workshop. It could be speaking gigs. It could be a product or service that we're selling. But we join together. We're joint to make powerful things happen. And if you could do joint ventures, I know people that make millions of dollars doing that, just bringing companies together and saying, let's build this. Because you imagine if a company's doing 100 million a year, their network is pretty large. You bring 10 of those companies together, now you've got hundreds of millions of people in a network being exposed to something fantastic.
That's like networking on steroids.
Yes, it's a great call. That's very good.
Love it. Steve, thank you very much. This was an amazing conversation. Gang, if you joined us later or didn't catch the whole thing, go back and watch this interview. He shared a lot of value bombs and nuggets that you could use today. The highlight for me today was introducing people via video, which I'm going to do basically later today or tomorrow with Steve and my friend Jay, and then I'm going to use that approach to introducing people, and a lot of other stuff that he shared was amazing. His podcasting approach to find people, highlight them, bring them on, expose them to your network, and build value in a relationship. This was great. And then Steve, you said you're teaching how to podcast.
Yes, so I have a podcast workshop once a month, free for everybody, to teach you how to be a better host. Actually, you won't get it today, but reach out to me and email me, stever1961@gmail, and I'll get you the date for next month. And I also do a business education. I help entrepreneurs grow. Pay It What You Can support group. I'll get you that link. I do it every other Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific. And I just go over some of the stuff I talked about today and answer questions and help people move forward and grow.
And then where can people join your email list or to stay in touch with you? Where can they find you?
Go to my email, stevr1961@gmail, or you can reach out to me at LinkedIn at Steve Ramona, STEVERAMONA. Connect with me there. I connect with everybody on LinkedIn. I think it's a great tool for us business people to network.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Steve. I really appreciate it. Gang, if you're watching or listening, do reach out to Steve on LinkedIn and different platforms and connect with him. On a different note, my book, Simple Marketing Formula, is coming up. It will be out in a week or two, and keep an eye on that, and we will get it out there. We try to make it like as simple as possible for you to have a marketing plan and a blueprint that you could use and implement and see results. That's like we put the 80-20 of marketing in there, stuff that we've seen results for either ourselves or our customers, and I'm pretty excited about it. Anyway, thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate you. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will chat more, I'm sure.
Thank you.